Ethereum's move above 400 signals that its big bull breakout has more or less begun, and we can look for Ethereum to move closer to 500 and beyond. And as that happens, we'll see one of the biggest and best assets, the most relied upon assets in the crypto space, Bitcoin and Ethereum, start to take on those new highs, those new bullish posturings that can signal a move towards new all-time highs, and with it, thank you for the shirt comment, LSB. And with it, we can see a wealth transfer on an order of magnitude that has previously never been seen here in the world. I believe that strongly. Now, of course, there are external factors acting upon this bull run, which we'll talk about, and they come in the form of stimulus directly connected to the pandemic crisis. However, given that there is absolutely no real end to that in sight, and some extremely bullish news that I'm going to point out today, something that just came out today, I believe that we're in for what could be a perpetuated bull cycle for at least a year. Now, it could end tomorrow, but I believe that there's enough cookie crumbs showing me that the narratives of DeFi, the narratives of hard cap fixed digital assets, of sound money principles and Bitcoin are going to start being echoed and followed on a scale that makes 2017 look like a little molehill. We've reached Space Jam levels of intensity. We're about to go Monstar on this entire market. And so I'm so excited to present to you some of the data that I've come across today, some of the things that are making me very excited, and of course, touch on some topics that I know you're going to love. So we're going to be talking about the evolution of the DeFi narrative, how it's gone from a micro community niche to essentially being the flavor of the month in crypto land. And we're going to show where it's now moving, because there is another level to the game. There's a deeper level to the maze, and I'm going to spell it out for you where I believe this is going, because this is quite literally ICO Mania v2.0. That shirt is nostalgia for all of us. If this shirt isn't nostalgia for you, then she's too young. All right, so let's hop in here and discuss essentially this Ethereum move. So right now we have Ethereum sitting here at about 438. It's been hovering around this 440 level, but the big point of resistance here, was that $400 level. That was like the big moment here. And so now it looks like we're just more or less building strength, and we're going to pop back up here into the $500 to $700 region is what I'm predicting. And so staying nice and long on Ethereum is definitely where you want to be. And what this means is that the Ethereum ecosystem and the Ethereum token is now starting to echo the value of the DeFi ecosystem that's taken root on it, which it hadn't been for quite a lot of time. Like, it had been hanging out here, not even moving, as these DeFi tokens are going absolutely parabolic. And so there is some argument to be made, and that's why we've been talking about DeFi tokens, that the biggest opportunity is actually in the tokens themselves. However, owning a piece of that land, and we're going to be talking about, Ethereum's gas prices and its correlation to the Ethereum token price, because there was a huge correlation there. The last time we had these insane surges of Ethereum transaction fees, we were in a full-blown 2017 style bull run of pretty much bull euphoria, right? Where people thought the new paradigm was just fully upon us. And so to see these bullish transaction fees are incredibly, incredibly good signs for the overall health and bullishness of the market, especially as we're looking at Ethereum as an asset in and of itself, which essentially all of my new money going into crypto over the last few months has been pretty much going into Ethereum. Then I've been putting it in and sort of watering the plants on these very exciting new altcoin projects. 630 people in here right now. Do me a favor and destroy that like button. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy today's episode, because we're going to be talking about some very interesting stuff. No more yam, big boy. Actually, we're going to be talking about the yams. The yams are trying to make a comeback. We'll get to that in a little bit. But this is insanely bullish right now. Ethereum breaking out is incredibly bullish for the entire space, and this is as Bitcoin has coiled up on a level that we haven't seen really for many years. And it always predates these kind of coil ups, these low volatility periods always predate, or they always come right before these huge moves, typically to the upside between 50 and 200%. If Bitcoin busts to new all-time highs, we're going to see mania, I believe, bull mania, pretty much on a scale we haven't seen before. Each crypto cycle is typically bigger than the last. That's the way it's been before. So I'm incredibly excited. And one of the reasons is you need to understand fiat to understand what's so amazing here. And I know you guys all understand that. You guys all understand that right now the debasement happening to our fiat currency is on a scale that we've never seen before, and especially the most relied upon currency, the US dollar, which is now being debased at a rate that's far outstripping other countries because our crisis here is far outstripping other countries. Our monetary policy reaction is now on a level that's outstripping other countries. And so we're going to see a debasement even versus other currencies. And so once you understand that, you can understand why Warren Buffett is selling why Warren Buffett is selling Goldman Sachs and buying Barrick Gold. So this just came out that Warren Buffett has turned insanely bullish on gold, and of course for good reason. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know we just interviewed Mike McGlone from Bloomberg, who's one of the foremost analysts, experts on precious metals dating back to the 80s. He's a really nice guy too. I've chatted with him on and off over the years, and I have a pretty close relationship with him. He's a brilliant individual, and his forecast on gold is that this gold bull market has not even started. The gold bull market has not even started because in order to get a true gold bull market, there needs to be a period of quote unquote disdain in essentially the equities market, stocks. And we're having a period of euphoria in stocks. So to get a period of such bullishness, new all-time highs on the gold chart, mixed with a period of euphoria on the stock charts is something that is incredibly bullish because an asset like Bitcoin, an asset like gold has yet to even really get its moment in the light. They're not even shining yet. And of course, unless this is different, and I do believe this time is different. So I believe that gold, of course, is an incredibly good sign for Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is essentially looked at by the investment community, by pretty much all of the financial world as digital gold. And that's the way it's been treated here in crypto land from a technological perspective, which is why we don't see as fast of movement on Bitcoin as we're seeing on other protocols, is because, hey, we don't care if it's slow. We want it to be secure. And that's essentially the gold mindset, the currency of last resort. Now, I personally want it to be moving a little faster. That's my own personal approach. But regardless, this news that Warren Buffett is buying gold is huge, is absolutely monstrous, and it's incredibly bullish for the crypto space. This is the beginning of the biggest wealth transfer in history, because as the crypto assets start to absorb more and more wealth, they're going to begin showing gains that it becomes financially irresponsible for you not to be invested. And that's what we've seen with MicroStrategy, the $1.2 billion behemoth that ended up essentially buying $250 million worth of gold. One of the biggest companies, one of the biggest buys of gold ever. So we'll see here that TradingView confirms over the last few days that Bitcoin and Tesla are pretty much the two most popular assets in the entire country. We're seeing Tesla, obviously, the most talked about, but right under that, we're seeing Bitcoin, right? Registering the two most trafficked assets. Here, I'll go ahead and hide my head here. But these are the two most viewed assets here on TradingView, which is, of course, the de facto best viewing site for if you want to check out a full detailed view on charts. And so this is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin, that is following in the incredible hype that Tesla has, and arguably has better fundamentals, depending on how you're, whether or not you believe Tesla is going to essentially run the energy markets of the future. We know that Bitcoin is going to run the capital markets of the future. It's going to run the wealth markets of the future. And meanwhile, the point I've been making time after time is that we must have more measures of stimulus, and that those measures of stimulus necessarily will create a higher asset value for things like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We've already seen it. Here's the NASDAQ chart for the last 6 months. We can see that it's almost identical to the Bitcoin chart. NASDAQ had a slightly higher low because they had circuit breakers, right? That stopped these plunges. So as you see Bitcoin plunge down to the 5,000s, it quickly popped up to those mid $6,000 levels. That's where NASDAQ plunged down to at its low here, 68, something like that. And so we see Bitcoin around 65 right after this, sort of flash crash, and it popped up. And then we see Bitcoin pop up to the, 11,000 something region. Same thing with NASDAQ, up to the 11,000 something region. And these are direct reactions to the stimulus proposed by the White House and the Congress. So when we see news announcements, like what we see here with, with Trump essentially trying to get rid of payroll tax, as we know that bigger stimulus measures are coming. We're seeing a $3 trillion stimulus bill that is in the works. And we see now the proposal of a complete payroll tax being just removed, right? This is the kind of thing that is going to send more money into the capital markets. It's going to keep this bullish momentum going. Obviously, things could correct. External forces, I believe, are the catalyst. But once we get into a macro bull run, the markets will take over. The actual technicals and the fundamentals will start pushing the narrative. Remember, narratives are incredibly strong in cryptocurrency. And we're going to get to this Facebook financial thing towards the end here, actually. Because we also have news from Facebook about their involvement in cryptocurrency. So we have this tweet here by CZ. And I think it's important to understand this tweet, right? Because he says here, markets are definitely beyond insanity now. Curve price is now $30 on Uniswap, meaning the fully diluted market cap is $90 billion. Release rate is $60 million worth of Curve tokens per day. Use your own judgment, be responsible for your own actions. So essentially what he's saying here is that this has reached a bull euphoria moment where people are just going to get crushed. He's saying that this might be the top, right? But I honestly am not so sure about that. I'm going to spell out a situation that I'm seeing where I see the narrative just reaching a whole new wave. And this, of course, was echoed by Vitalik, who essentially suggests that he's never done yield farming and says that people should be evaluating risks. But what I found funny about this CZ tweet is that the very next tweet is Binance listing Curve. So it's like, okay, so you're saying that this is out of control. Why don't you go ahead and list it? So, I mean, it's not his fault that it's pumping to the moon. But again, you're seeing this sort of counterbalance of, yes, he's bringing, being the bearer of bad news, trying to poke holes, but he's also enabling you to sort of go rampant with it. So who knows, maybe this will add some more sensible sort of downside to the market by giving it a higher liquidity market. But I just thought that was funny to see those two tweets so close in tandem. And the reason why you should be very cognizant of this DeFi wave continuing is that with the increase in price of Ethereum, with the increase in price of all these DeFi tokens, the exorbitant fees going on Ethereum, and of course, a game that feels like you can't really lose, we're seeing bigger entities, in this case, actual governments and central banks, like the Central Bank of Thailand here, eyeing DeFi for its own digital bot. So they're trying to tokenize their own bot, which is their Thai bot as their national currency, and they're looking at DeFi. So you can see here how narratives start to become extremely powerful. We saw this with the ICO era, where everybody was starting to create coins for everything, and there was a belief at one point that there was a coin needed for everything. I still believe that that's a world we're headed to. I believe that everything will be tokenized. However, in the moment at 2017, there was just not enough fuel, not enough liquidity, not enough money in the market to really bring that dream to a full reality. And a lot of the Web3 dreams needed to be put on pause. As we've seen, they're getting hit, the play button's getting hit in a big way here. But DeFi is a narrative that, in my opinion, is now building strength. We're seeing this with the absurd Curve prices. We're seeing this with the absurd gas fees. And those gas fees are still worth it, because if I'm going to make 1,000% gains on this asset, who cares if I pay $20? If I'm going to make, tens of thousands of dollars, depending on, what my investment risk, my exposure is. So seeing that DeFi is now reaching an entirely new level of visibility, and I'll show you another data point that I think is huge. Seeing this new visibility for the DeFi narrative, you need to understand how big these trends can get. Remember that our top of the market was almost 900 billion. We're still just 1/3 of that. We're just 1/3 of that. We're over 500 billion away in total market cap from our top of our last market cycle, which I believe will be made to look incredibly small if things continue at this rate. Now, the quick math for me was I was looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart. The Bitcoin dominance chart, let me bring this up. If we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we see, and I believe that I'm trying to take a somewhat conservative approach to this, right? I'm doing my best at least. We see that the Bitcoin dominance fell down to about 32% here at the ultimate low, 32 something. So we can see here that every time there's an altcoin cycle, the Bitcoin dominance falls a little lower, a little lower, a little lower. And with all this crazy stuff happening on Ethereum, Polkadot coming, all these amazing new altcoin projects pushing themselves into the mix, we can only imagine that this would continue to fall even lower on our new bull cycle. So if the new bull cycle is going to fall, let's just say 20%, let's just use 20% as an easy math number. If Bitcoin falls to 20% dominance and it makes it to $50,000 per coin, then what we're looking at is Bitcoin essentially doing a 5x, right, from here. So Bitcoin's market cap, let's just call it 1 trillion. So if Bitcoin's market cap makes it to $1 trillion and it's 20% of the cryptocurrency markets, then that would mean that the crypto markets would be worth $5 trillion. That would mean that the whole crypto market is going to be 30x as large as it is today. 30x, right? And that means we're 4.7 trillion or 4.6 whatever trillion away from hitting the ultimate high of the next cycle. If Bitcoin dominance stays at 20 or falls to 20% and we end up with 100K Bitcoin, then that would mean that we have a $10 trillion market and that Bitcoin would be worth $2 trillion. Those are the numbers. Again, numbers are sometimes a little bit confusing and these market caps sometimes get a little bloated. That's another topic. But what we need to see here is that if you believe Bitcoin's going to hit 50K, and I don't think that's an absurd prediction. I think a lot of people believe that. I think a lot of people hold that, and that's not even that crazy of a moon boy prediction. If you believe that, and you believe that this altcoin cycle is just getting started, just like every other altcoin cycle before, then I think there's a huge narrative for there to be $5 or $10 trillion in crypto by the end of this next cycle. And if you like that, if you agree with those numbers, you think it's a sensible and data-driven approach to reaching this conclusion, then do me a favor and smash the like button. 844, you guys. I know a few more you can smash that like button. Thank you guys so much for being with me. And I'm going to get to some really exciting stuff and a coin that I actually just bought in a minute. So I think you're going to like that. Okay. I'm just going to put this here. And if you don't believe me that the DeFi narrative is growing, just listen to this tweet by John Cole. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. But John Cole here is an investor at Galaxy Digital, which is owned by Mike Novogratz, one of the biggest hedge funds and crypto asset funds in the entire space. And he just said, an equity analyst just asked a yield farming question on an earnings call for a publicly listed company. You're having an equity analyst asking about yield farming on a publicly listed company's earnings call. This is as bullish a sign as I've ever seen, because this means that yield farming and the DeFi craze is just getting started. We've had a few huge standout winners, and it might seem like we're in a lull. I certainly feel like there's a lull coming, right? And that would be healthy, right? That would be a healthy lull. But to think that this DeFi narrative is just going to screech to a halt, I don't believe that's going to happen. We see narratives continue to perpetuate for a very long time here in crypto land, and whether or not DeFi is all it's cracked up to be, I believe this narrative has significant legs. Now, of course, stimulus could be pulled. The political will to keep printing money could change dramatically. There could be a variety of external factors that could act on this market to bring this DeFi craze to a halt. However, what I'm seeing is more cookie crumbs leading me to the opposite conclusion, that this DeFi narrative is just starting, that Bitcoin dominance is set to plunge. And this is as Bitcoin becomes the most viewed, the most exciting, the most invested in asset potentially across the world. So those combination of factors mean that not only is DeFi going to explode, but Bitcoin's going to explode and the dominance is going to continue to fall, meaning that the whole thing is going to expand dramatically. That's my personal view. That's my most likely scenario. I believe that the super cycle is upon us, where we could be adding not just 1 million or 2 million or 10 million, but we could actually have a super cycle that adds the vast majority of unregistered users, the people who are not currently involved in the ecosystem. There is going to be a super cycle where just like when the internet sweeps or Facebook sweeps, right now Facebook can't add the same quantity of users as it did many years ago, because now you're essentially running into problems of everyone with the internet already is on Facebook. Everyone with the internet already is on social media. They already have Gmail and stuff. They're already using Google. So how do you get more users? Well, you actually need to bring the internet to new places. So I believe that there's a super cycle, and I believe that there is a high probability that this is it. And if this happens, I believe that we'll end up with, potentially a $10 trillion market cap or more, which of course would make all of these ridiculous prices for these coins seem minuscule in the long run. So if you guys enjoy that analysis, if you believe that I'm on to something, do me a favor and smash that like button. I'm going to see if there's any super chats that I missed. Nope, no super chats. I'm going to get to a Q&A towards the end of the session, so I appreciate you guys. We also have here that the U.S. Postal Service files a blockchain voting patent following the Trump cuts. So obviously, if you guys are following the story, there's essentially this feud over whether or not you can vote by mail. Obviously, vote by mail is pretty common, and so I believe it'll continue. And I've been of the belief that we should be voting through an app. Like, why would we go and stand in line somewhere? It kind of seems crazy to me. So I'm a big believer that if blockchain can bring voting and make it easier, that's just a logical step forward. So I found this kind of very interesting to see that the U.S. Postal Service was filing a blockchain patent. Again, this isn't going to pump your bags. It's going to have nothing to do with that, but it just shows that every day we see blockchain perform, get relied upon for more and more things, is a day that the trust in this system can grow, is a day that Bitcoin didn't fail, is a day that we can come closer to this being a reserve asset for the world, is the day that these DeFi and these other fun mechanisms, the coins that we love so much, can become more widely relied upon and trusted. Trust is built over time. Trust is built over time. And this is something that I feel like people don't quite understand, is that the reason why we trust gold and the dollar is that it's been working for a long time. The reason why Bitcoin is the biggest and most valued asset is because it's the one that's the oldest, the one that we know the most about, and the one that's been trusted for the longest. And so it doesn't matter if your new, challenge to Bitcoin is cheaper, better, faster. Trust is a function of time. And Bitcoin, no other cryptocurrency will ever have as much time as Bitcoin. At least we think, right? At least for now, it seems like until there's some kind of black swan event, that's going to continue to be the case. And that's why Bitcoin will hold its place. I think a lot of people forget that when they see, oh, it's not as fast as this. It's not as, there's different kinds of coins that always try to claim one statistic or another that's better than Bitcoin, and they will never overcome Bitcoin in the time it's been used. So we also have the YAM protocol migrating their old tokens to a new audited contract. So if you got burnt by that YAM thing, there's hope for you. And then, of course, this token, like, I don't take any pride in things crashing, but this is a token, Unipower, that everyone wanted me to cover. And I was like, no, it's just going to dump. Like, there's nothing there that I get excited by, and it dumped as well. So I don't know, maybe I'm just excited that I was right about that one. But I'm happy I didn't expose you guys to it, because I'm not trying to chase pumps here, guys. I'm not trying to chase pumps. I'm trying to deliver you guys coins that I see a through line in for long-term adoption, that they will serve a purpose in this ecosystem long-term, and that hopefully I can get them to you when they're undervalued. That's my goal. And so in the spirit of that, let's talk about 1inch, because 1inch Exchange is trying to essentially help us solve one of the biggest issues right now, which is gas fees, which is token, essentially the ridiculous overpriced gas fees that people are paying so much money to essentially just get through basic transactions and use smart contracts. So 1inch Exchange is a DEX aggregator. It's designed to roll liquidity and pricing from all major DEXs into one platform, making it easy to get the best prices for the desired trade. And so what's really interesting about 1inch is that they released this gas token, this Chi gas token. And the Chi gas token is a next generation gas token that allows users to significantly save on gas. The name of our project, 1inch, was inspired by Bruce Lee's legendary 1inch punch, an epitome of efficiency in martial arts, and aims to symbolize our efficiency in the crypto industry. So if you guys are following, 1inch, it's an interesting project, but I thought it became very interesting as we're looking at the expanding and exponentially growing, cost of gas. And until we have ETH2, until we have Polkadot, until we have real scaling solutions that are alleviating the actual cost of using the Ethereum network and expanding its ability to process, this to me seems pretty interesting, right? It could just be temporary. It could just be for the next month or two or three. But I bought a little bag of this Chi gas token because essentially what they're trying to do is create a more efficient way to use gas on the Ethereum network. And they're essentially saying that it's 1% more optimized for minting and 10% more efficient for burning. And that the goal is to reduce smart contract address size by mining a private key with profanity address generator, which allowed us to decrease the size of the sub-smart contract by 1 byte. This is a little more technical than probably a lot of you are going to get, but this, I think, sums it up. Where is it? Imagine Chi as a tokenized version of actual gas price on Ethereum, meaning if the price of gas grows, Chi token price also grow. If the price in Ethereum drops, the same would also happen with Chi. And so the idea here is that they're tokenizing the actual gas cost and that they're trying to create a more efficient way to use gas here. And It's quite technical the way that they've done this, but as the price of gas exploded over the last few days, we saw that the Chai gas token went up like 283%. And so this is pretty interesting, and luckily it's actually fallen significantly. It's way down on the day, which is why I thought it was a good time to actually scoop it up, because I don't like buying things up when they're up significantly. I like buying them when they tumble down. And so, essentially, this became very interesting to me. And, I'm curious to see, as we're looking for more alleviation of the Uniswap-driven craze that is happening on Ethereum, I think Chai gas token could stand to have some serious, albeit potentially short-term gains, right? Where until we have full Polkadot, Polkaswap, until we have these zero-fee dexes, until we have full scaling for Ethereum 2, I could see this as a tremendous gainer, because it's going to essentially be growing with gas, which we all know gas has just started to reach ridiculous highs. And so I would see this as just, another token that would absolutely pump with the Ethereum price going, with the cost of gas going up. And as we see here, this decentralized finance frenzy has driven the Ethereum transaction fees to all-time highs, which I explained is incredibly bullish. Let me bring this out here. We see that these are spiking above even the 2017 levels, and that is crazy bullish for Ethereum as a token value, because of course that led to the highest token values for Ethereum. And of course that's bullish to me, showing that people are willing to pay crazy prices to use this network right now. The value of using the network is incredibly high. And so one would imagine that that would translate into things like a tokenized version of gas, or anything that could save money on that, bring more efficiency. And then, of course, the Ethereum token itself, which I'm strong and long on Ethereum. So that's something I thought you'd all like. 1inch, very cool DEX aggregator. And I just got myself a nice bag of this Chai gas token, expecting that there's going to be days that this thing's going to be up. Look at this. It was up double the price yesterday. So it pretty much crashed from 260 yesterday all the way down to 130 here. So we're seeing as gas fluctuates, this thing is pumping up and down. And so it's very interesting to see. And if you want to get Chai, I would say find this on CoinGecko, Chai gas token, and then make sure you're finding the markets tab. And the best market here is on Uniswap. And so obviously they're going to, Mooniswap is their exchange, and you can see it's pretty much the exact same thing as Uniswap, except they're running their back end a little differently. So if they can add some alleviation to the situation here, I think that it would become a very rapidly adopted product. But let me know what you guys think about Chai gas token and the Mooniswap exchange. And then, of course, just checking in here, we can see a hockey stick uptick here on the amount of total value locked in USD in DeFi. Total value locked here is up to 5.7 billion. Look, back in June, we were just 1.1 billion. Let's go ahead and look at the 1-year chart here. And this is like unbelievably bullish here. We can see a clear parabolic curve here. And every day we look at this, the curve looks completely vertical. And then the next day, it seems to go even more vertical. So the TVL right now in DeFi, which to me is an incredibly good sign, an incredibly good marker of utility, is absolutely skyrocketing. The value of Ethereum is absolutely skyrocketing. And to not understand how important that is, and how Ethereum has fended off all of the challenges to its throne, and that now, even with its prices surging, we're still seeing Ethereum maintain its dominance of the smart contracts platforms in the DeFi world. This is incredibly bullish for the DeFi ecosystem that lives on Ethereum, and all of those minor tokens that are sitting on top of it, including the platform token, Ethereum, Ether. And then I just wanted to check in again. ChainX just absolutely performing amazingly, up at $7. A great project. Again, here at $43 million market cap, again, I still see it as pretty undervalued compared to Ren, which is to me a close version of it. But I'm excited to see more projects like ChainX essentially being second layer solutions for Bitcoin. And yeah, you guys absolutely smashed it getting on ChainX. I hope that helped a lot of you guys because I believe in this project long term. I think it's a phenomenal project. And then for some more fundamental news here, if you guys thought Facebook was just gonna, disappear into the sunset here and accept that these regulators don't like its plans to enter into the financial world and become a titan of financial industry, you are sorely mistaken, because Facebook right now is looking to become an absolute beast in the financial services sector. We see here that earlier this week, reports emerged that the social media hegemon has realigned its forces on the front has realigned its forces on this front, arranging all its payments-related subsidiaries into a single group called Facebook Financial. David Marcus, co-creator of Libra and head of the Novi, the formerly Calibra project, will take command of the new division while continuing to directly oversee the crypto effort. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg also tapped Upwork CEO Stefan Kazriel to assist Marcus as vice president for payments in charge of Facebook Pay, the solution that the company is currently integrating into its family of products. Payments and financial services have become increasingly more important for the world, and as a result, we need to increase our efforts around making payments and commerce easier for people. We want to empower people everywhere to send money to each other, buy things and sell online, and help businesses grow. So essentially they're saying, all right, you don't want us to launch a crypto. You don't want us to launch a dollar peg stablecoin. All right, well, we'll just launch a crazy blockchain payments network and a digital payments network. And then, we'll probably keep sneaking in crypto features. I believe Libra and Facebook are anything but gone. They're anything but done. And that they are going to help bring in part of these next billion users, right? There are billions of users around the world that I believe will get access to crypto assets through Facebook in the not too distant future. And so this is a gargantuan addition to our crypto landscape that people just are not considering, right? The DeFi narrative, the Bitcoin narrative, and now Facebook and these tech giants pushing deeper into crypto, deeper into electronic payments. These are all part of a narrative that shows you this is the future of wealth. This is the future of finance. Warren Buffett moving into gold is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is digital gold, and the entire sandwich today is really tasty as we look towards the future and wonder if this DeFi craze can continue. And I believe all of the signs are pointing to a resounding yes. If you guys agree, do me a favor and smash that like button. But for now, I'm going to hop into the chats. I see you guys have all been talking about some altcoins. Let me know what you guys are talking about. Mr. Podio69, if stagflation / inflation possibly rocks our world, is it realistic to be bullish on crypto? What are your thoughts this moment to accelerate wealth medium term? I'm a big believer in crypto, and of course, thanks for your hard work. Cheers. Thank you so much for the donation. That's extremely sweet of you. $49.99. Appreciate it. All right, so my belief is this. We can't control the external forces, but the external forces so far show no signs of letting up. There's a bigger stimulus bill on the front. There's a bigger stimulus bill coming in the form of taxation relief. There's actually new money that's going to get printed. Now, I believe whichever party takes the White House, we're going to need a ton of fiscal stimulus. So my belief is that all assets and all markets are set to appreciate, and that while there is a chance that cryptocurrency continues to thrive if there is a crash in the mainstream markets, I see a bit too much of a correlation right now between mainstream markets and crypto. So I think there would be a big crash in crypto if those mainstream markets start to flounder in any way. But I'm also of the belief that mainstream markets will continue to absolutely soar over the coming months and years because essentially we're debasing the dollar. So all of that free cash is going to start flowing into all these assets that are not going to lose value: property, Bitcoin, precious metals, equities, pretty much anything besides cash. And so in my personal opinion, getting out of cash is kind of the main goal. However, I'd also say diversification has proven to be the number one strategy, where of course, if you can afford to build out a portfolio of equities, of indices, medical care indices, technology indices, of course, if you're looking to do property, as well as of course, cryptocurrencies. And I believe that gold is set to do amazingly well. And by extension, the digital gold is set to do even better, because for, a 1% move in gold is the translation of like a many hundreds of percent move in Bitcoin, because it's such a small fraction of the market cap, whereas that 1% move in gold is hundreds of billions of dollars. So you'd be making a huge impact onto or tens of billions of dollars, I believe, if my math's right. No, hundreds, into the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency markets. So I believe if this external situation that we have no control over continues to perpetuate, that we will have essentially positive growth in all markets, but really the DeFi market is set to grow the most because it's the most it's the youngest, the lowest market caps, and has the most volatility to the upside. Obviously to the downside as well for certain assets, but overall the trend is up and to the right for DeFi. So if this trend is the ICO sort of flavor of the year for the next bull run, which it seems to be, then to me, diversifying across equities, even though equities seem extremely expensive right now, I believe there's a potential that this stimulus just keeps cooking those books and pushing it up. And in this market, DeFi and altcoins are going to do well. But if we get a crash, if we get a big crash, and essentially gold becomes the currency of last resort and all the market leaves the equities and starts flooding into gold, and we get that true Bitcoin, we get that true sort of contrarian, non-correlated market that gold, typically is associated with, I believe I'll refer back to my interview with Mike McGlone, Bloomberg analyst who I had on just a couple days ago, and he said that's when the real bull run begins for Bitcoin. So that's where you'll see the difference between Bitcoin and these sort of hot alt markets, I believe. That's where Bitcoin's time in the light will really shine, is because it'll be shown as that sort of safe haven asset where people want to store their wealth when all these other markets are going down. But that has to happen during a period of quote unquote disdain for mainstream markets. So once we get that, if we do get that, and I'm not so sure that we will, there's potential they could just keep printing and keep floating these markets and essentially cooking the books that way. But if that happens, if we do get that period of disdain, I believe that we could see a huge breakout for Bitcoin. And with that, I think that in the event that equities crash, I believe there would be a temporary crash for crypto, but I believe that Bitcoin would then bounce back with gold, not necessarily the DeFi alts. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and make myself full screen here. Full screen. Okay. Answer a few more questions. What did I saw? I saw another one. What are my thoughts on XEM is going mid to long term? XEM is, let me make sure I have this right. XEM. NEM. Yeah. NEM. Yeah, the last time I thought about NEM, I remembered them having some kind of their blockchain went down or was offline or something crazy. The last time I checked up on NEM, the fundamentals were not very strong. That might have changed, so I don't want to speak out of touch here, but a couple months ago, NEM went down and the blockchain even pumped. So I don't really think that highly of NEM. I was really actually quite disappointed that the blockchain pumped with no fundamentals, because that to me means that we're not living in logically driven markets. And I'd love for crypto to be logically driven, because that would mean the cream would rise to the top, preserve and hold its utility-based gains. But if we're seeing things like NEM pump too hard, it sort of seems a bit illogical to me. So that's my perspective on it, is that NEM, who knows, it's going to pump or dump with the market probably. I also wanted to take a second, the project that I talked about, Robonomics, yesterday, Chico did a video on it and it went absolutely insane. And yeah, it's a great project. So, all this Polkadot ecosystem stuff is phenomenal and set to do really well over the coming months. I just didn't, put my seal of approval on XRT because I think that it's still several years away from being truly adopted in this sort of, mass adoption scale. I'm also a product guy. You'll see this. I'm very big on product, users, metrics, actual engagement, and utility. It's because I build B2C projects. I build consumer-facing projects. We're about to release a video game on Steam, not the blockchain Steam, actually the game store Steam, where there's hundreds of millions of gamers. And my only focus is how many hours can we get them to play a day? What's their return rate? Are they telling their friends? Key, what they call KPIs, key performance indicators. So you don't hear that stuff here in crypto land, right? We hear about volume, pumps, entry points, but you don't actually hear about the product side of things. And I believe that by focusing on the product side, by actually getting true, genuine user adoption, we can bridge to the future of crypto where people don't leave this ecosystem, they just stay because they have products that they use every day. And so that's what I'm hoping to achieve with my own project, and I'll be giving you guys a big dose of news on that very soon. Let me check the calendar right now. Yep, less than 2 weeks away. I'll be giving you guys a huge dose of news on that, and I think it's pretty exciting. Bitcoin about to break 12K. Let's go. Can we have a Bitcoin rally? Can we change this to a Bitcoin rally stream where we just cheer on the price of Bitcoin? Because once Bitcoin breaks out, I don't think it's going to be a straight road to 20K, but once we break out past 20K, this is going to get exciting. This is all precursor. This is all 2016 style. This is just a bounce back from the bear market. And yeah, there's a ton of gains to be had, but 2017 was wild. And I believe we'll see the same thing. Evo. That's right. Do I like Pi, DeFi Pi? Pi, again, it looks good, but kind of fits into these sort of like it's like part of these DeFi projects where there's just not enough on them yet. I think DeFi Pi is probably the best one. But like, for example, PureX Network, people have been trying to get me to cover PureX Network, and there's just like no information on them, right? And I don't have any information to give you a data-driven approach. I hope you guys have realized that over the course of my content, I try to almost exclusively do data-driven analyses. And if I can't find data points, it's pretty hard for me to give you a really concrete conclusion as to how things should pan out in the future. If I get data points, I can start making better analyses for you. Something like PureX Network, I just don't have enough data. There's not enough data. Lid will make you millionaires. See, yeah, Lid's another one. It looks good and all, it looks interesting, but it's just these are all babies, right? And so it's okay to hop into these baby coins. It's okay, but understand it's tremendously risky, and there's a high likelihood that the steam could run out, right? And these are technically, most of these are going to be short-term lived pumps. So just remember that. Elrond, Elrond's a phenomenal. You can see Elrond is really still moving based off a narrative that's now like 4 years old, which is the Ethereum killer, right? And I said I wasn't going to touch Elrond because it was too overcooked, and I was glad because essentially you were seeing the price just continually. Oh no, look, I guess it's having some resilience here. It's having some resilience, but we've seen a lot of these Ethereum killers get huge market caps, get huge hype. They launch and then they slowly fade, right? Look at EOS, right? Elio, thank you for your awesome content every day. Can you go back to MetaMask and help newbies with the ability to see small altcoins when we buy on Uniswap? What do you mean? Are you talking about being able to see them in your wallet on MetaMask? What do you mean to see them? Because the best way to find coins is to go to CoinGecko. Go to CoinGecko and then look at the markets tab. It's pretty easy. Let me get through this. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats here. Oh yeah, so you want to go to CoinGecko. Just go here. I'm not gonna arrange my camera for a second. Go to CoinGecko, find a coin, any coin, take Elrond, go to this markets tab, click markets, and then it'll sort the markets in descending order by volume. And so if I say here, oh, I want to trade on Binance, I can just click this ERD BTC. So say you want to find a coin like this Chai gas token that I just bought, which is, oh wait, no, not Chili's, Chai gas token, which I just bought. So I'll click into the Chai gas token, click markets, and then I will see it here it's on BKX, right? It's on Uniswap, right? And this is how I find my token here. And so I just bought on Uniswap because I didn't want to deal with another exchange. But you can see here, any of these will get you to the actual market that you're looking for. Now, if you're looking for to see it in MetaMask, what you need to do is you actually need to add the custom token and insert their contract address. That's a different kind of tutorial style video that I don't really want to go through right now, but you want to find the contract address and then you want to add that as a custom token in Uniswap. Power token has insane staking APR now, very short time, and all power will be locked in staking pools. Yes, I know. Not bullish on it. I want to see someone give me a product that I can see a college kid using day after day. I want to see something I could see a college kid logging into 7 times a week. Show me that and I'll get bullish, right? Or show me critical infrastructure. I don't want to hear about a high staking percentage. That high staking percentage is a short-term arbitrage opportunity, and most of the time what I'm seeing is these DeFi coins with just all they're doing is high staking. They're mostly going to get crushed because there will be that big pump, it'll get overvalued, and then people get dumped on. And so my goal here is not to tell you about, if you guys want to know about the next pump coin, you can see that on Twitter, you can see that on Telegram, just the next pump token, the next high staking token. That's not the type of content I'm trying to do here. That's not the type of community I'm trying to cultivate. I'm trying to elevate your understanding of the space. I'm trying to elevate your understanding of what the direction we need to go as a community is if we want to stick around. If we want crypto not to be a fad, if we want crypto not to be a trend, or DeFi, rather, whatever your favorite part about crypto is, we need to build long-lasting utility. Once we build that long-lasting utility, it's not going to be a matter of, oh, wow, the markets are bulling. It's going to be people are relying on these assets for everyday use cases. And that is the holy grail. That is the highest aspiration. What about a cryptocurrency that incentivizes health and wealth while solving 6 national emergencies and 4 global concerns for starters? I have 2 primers. Well, that, my friend, is very interesting. Let's see what else is here. Any lights on Ampleforth? Let's see. Is Ample pumping again? Highly doubt it. Nope, it's definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, the thing about Ampleforth is I thought their unique tokenomics were really great, but the problem is that they cultivated a community that only cared about gains. And so that's okay, but then a bunch of Ample clones came out and they essentially took the people who were pumping the price away. And so Ampleforth's future is uncertain to me, uncertain. It's got a big community, but people are just there was like 20 Ample clones that came out, and then they have better tokenomics in some ways than Ample. Like, I'm not going to mention them right now. I'm not going to mention them because those products have been hitting me up trying to get me to cover them. And right now, the elastic supply thing, as awesome as I think it is, I genuinely don't want to shine a light on these things because I think it's just gambling, right? I want to show you a product that's going to fit into the future of crypto, and I want to show you something undervalued and something that's going to hold its value. So you can find those pump coins on other channels, but not here. Okay. Any new undervalued altcoins still out there with long-term potential? I told you guys about a bag I just bought, which was this Chi gas token, this Chi gas token. I believe that this thing is going to really pop as more and more swelling of the Uniswap prices for gas. This is essentially a tokenized version of the gas price on Ethereum, which will, as these ridiculous gas prices continue to bloat, we could see a big pump in this Chai gas token. And so at least for temporary bridge measures between now and the ETH2 scaling future, the Polkadot, PokaSwap, 0% fees, no charge to swap your coins, that's not the reality yet. So until we're there, I'm seeing the Chai gas token, it's super low cap coin. And so I took a bet on it, and I'm excited. I think this thing could absolutely take off. Link working with Swift 2.0. I bet Link doesn't stop. Those Link partnerships don't stop. I've a big, long and strong bag of Link, and I think that it's pretty foolish right now to be betting against Link. I mean, the only thing that we know is that betting against Link is a losing proposition. Thoughts on Daya? I'm really bullish on Daya. I'm super bullish on Daya. That's one of my most bullish positions is Daya because it's just so undervalued. So they're going to release their staking, and they just announced their staking today. I don't really like their staking personally, but people will do it. They'll lock up their tokens. I think they need to start announcing partnerships, showing growth, and they're achieving their goals to become this new Oracle solution that they're claiming they are, the Bloomberg of Oracles, right? If they do that, then they're going to pump big time, right? They're a tiny project compared to these other projects. They're not just going to 2x, they're going to 10, 20x. That's what I believe for Daya. But, they need to do some work first. It seems like the market's given them the pump that they can have for now. So as they progress, but I'm holding. Thoughts on Zaya? I'm not actually familiar. ETH v came table. Yeah, so ETHverse, right, is, it got pumped by some other friends of mine who are content creators, and they asked me if I'm bullish on it, and I am, right? I believe gaming is the future. However, it's just not that much of to me, the real value is in a new game that gives a user an experience that is unique, right? Because once people get into video games, they play them addictively and for long periods of time, and they develop that relationship. And yes, there's a relationship with Minecraft, but someone else could just build another Minecraft on a coin on Minecraft with a Minecraft experience. They're not protected, right? ETHverse is not protected in what they're doing. And so for me, what I'm building is a video game where we will control what those assets what you need to get access to those assets. And so by having some proprietary moat there, you can actually build some long-term value. Whereas this ETHverse thing is cool for a quick pump, but long-term, I don't know, right? I really don't. And I don't want to FUD the project. I haven't looked into it too deeply, but what I saw was this is something that other people could could potentially accomplish. Whereas if you see a game release a completely unique video game, which nobody wants to do the hard work of building a game. That's the hard work no one wants to do, because that's one of the hardest things to accomplish, to build a truly mainstream game title. And so if you see people putting in that work, that's when you could see a token model there being extremely, extremely exciting. And that's what I'm going to be bringing to this cryptosphere. Fusion versus Cosmos versus Polkadot. That's a good video. Maybe I'll do that video. Fusion versus Cosmos versus Polkadot. Thoughts on Rune? Rune's awesome. Totally decentralized. One of the best examples of how an anonymous open source team with open source code can actually be an extremely good thing. Non-fungible assets, non-fungible tokens. Yep. Alrighty. I think we're reaching the end here. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats. What do I think about Hyper? You do. I really like Hyper. You do. I actually know the team. I've been talking with them. They've been trying to get me to do a sponsored review. I've been kind of trying to debate as to how that works. Obviously, I did a sponsored review this morning, and even though I said it was sponsored, I never once talked about the token, didn't tell anyone to buy the token. These are nice people, founders that were, essentially wanting just to be interviewed. And you guys don't realize, but crypto projects aren't allowed to advertise. They're not allowed to advertise like typical products. They're essentially one of the only advertising mechanisms available to them is influencer marketing. And so for me to completely shut off and say, no, never sponsored reviews, it's essentially like blocking one of the only channels that these projects have. And so it's an opportunity for projects that I wouldn't normally cover to get exposure. And, really to me, I turned down so much sponsored content. The amount of sponsored content I've turned down would blow your guys' minds. The amount of dollar figure that I've turned down would blow your mind. And so, I do everything I can, but the occasional sponsored video, guys, I'm going to be completely transparent about it. But I don't think that's bad to do the occasional sponsored video and be transparent about it. I mean, and I got some really negative comments on the video this morning. And to be honest, it made me feel bad because I put so much of my heart and soul into giving you guys good information that I was kind of deflated by that. And so it makes me think twice about doing a video for Hyper, right? Which also is a coin that I might not cover in my normal goings on, but also is something that maybe deserves to have a chance to advertise to you guys. So I hope you guys understand that dynamic. And in any other industry, doing sponsored content or sponsorships is expected. It's part of being in a content creator position. But I hope you guys get that. And I'm doing my best to provide you guys the best information, and I'm always keeping it 100,000 with you about if I do take a sponsorship. All right, let me go. There's so many chats coming in. God, you guys are amazing. Absolutely killing it. Feelings on QNT. Yeah, I'm going to do a little QNT coverage. I need to check up on it. I know that my buddy Blockchain Brad was pretty bullish on it. So, he usually does very good research. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, what have we been going here? We're going about 52 minutes. I think it's about time to wrap up the stream. I hope when you become a multimillionaire, you will still help the rest of us. Guys, let me just assure you, money's not going to change me. I'm very excited by what I do, but my role in the community is what excites me, and you can ask my girlfriend. She's upset about it, right? Because I spend the vast majority of my day focused on you guys. And then the other part of my day is focused on this company, which I believe is going to be one of the top 10 companies in the whole space, right? We've been working just tirelessly. The amount of nights that I've pretty much not slept, the amount of times that I've put everything physically, emotionally, financially into this project, I can't tell you how excited I am to now be showing it, which is coming up in just a couple of days. And so, for me, this is my life. This is my passion. This is what I feel like my purpose is. And, I know a lot of people who struggle with anxiety, who struggle with depression and mental health. And I can tell you from experience that finding something that you feel like is your purpose is one of the biggest sources of ongoing happiness, of ongoing genuine joy. And joy and happiness are sometimes very hard to achieve. And I can promise you that finding my own value, finding my own path to give value to others and to create value in the form of products, in the form of content, and now with this alt season in the form of coin picks or whatever, there's nothing that makes me happier. And so to me, that's a genuine source of ongoing self-worth and purpose. And so it's much beyond money for me, right? If money was what motivated me, I wouldn't be here still. I can promise you guys that. I'm doing very well. But to me, it's very much so about what makes you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose here on Earth, because we only have so much time here. And so, I've been thinking about, doing a little bit more content about this stuff, about the motivation side, about the mental side, because I believe genuinely that your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, and your understanding of your own purpose are what makes people really wealthy. That's what gives you true, genuine, ongoing wealth in your life, is by fulfilling your purpose. So I hope you guys enjoyed that message, and I wanted to leave you guys with something positive, and I'll try to start incorporating those messages more into my content, because that's been a transformational experience for me, is knowing when I was doing things that seemed fun, that on paper they're the things that you want to do, the things that you hear about sort of rich or famous people doing. And I can promise you, those things are not nearly as fulfilling as feeling like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing with your life. And it's been an empowering journey. This last couple of months has been amazing, almost a whole nother level of this game. And so for you guys, I promise I'm going to stay at it. I'm going to keep working my butt off. And I hope that the next month of content is even more exciting, even more beneficial to you guys, and helps build more value. So thank you guys so much. Don't be afraid to hop in my Telegram, t.me/EllioTradesCrypto. If you want to get a hold of me, I do my best. If you tag me in there, or if you send me a message on Telegram, I do my best to respond. Also, follow me on Twitter. We just hit 5,000 followers on Twitter. I had only like 2,000 just like a few weeks ago. So things are really building on all the socials, and I encourage you to get involved in my Telegram group, because then you can have a much more intimate interaction with me and just chat offhandedly. So respect to all you guys. I hope everyone's having an amazing weekend wherever you are. Here in Los Angeles, I can tell you I'm about to go enjoy a nice evening with a friend as they just they just bought a house, and so I'm going to go congratulate them. I encourage you guys to all spend some time checking in with yourself, making sure that you're rested, that you're healthy, because DeFi alt season, I believe, is going to be going a while. So you got to make sure that you're keeping your mental, physical health and well-being first. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. As usual, my name's EllioTrades. I'll see you very